Hello and welcome to another episode of the ReUp. My name is Jason Delgado. It's been a little bit, but been busy. Comedy's coming back. Very exciting stuff. I'm going to move the mic up a little because I'm so excited. Anyway, it's good to see you. Welcome back. This is the ReUp, this little vlog, blog, podcast, banana that I do every week. Sorta, where I just talk about the week, what's been going on, what I've been up to, stuff of that nature. The world around me. So the Britney documentary, it's way depressing. But yeah, other than that, just been doing comedy, man. Lots and lots of comedy. It's coming back. Been hitting the open mics again. Shout out to the Flashback Open Mic. Lovely mic out in Los Angeles by Melrose. So if you're out in the LA area, go check out the Flashback Mic. I also did a show at a real place. It was a bar cantina. Yeah, the Baja Grill on Wilshire. Hosted a great show. Outdoors, kind of cordoned off, from the street. So it's, there's like a little outdoor patio type of situation. Cheap drinks, good food, lots of tables, good energy. Got to do a little 5-minute set, some new material, exciting. And yeah, it was just fun to kind of see people, be around people, masks and stuff, but still, it wasn't like, I never did a Zoom show, but the Zoom kind of comedy, there's always just something a little bit disconnected about that. So it was nice to kind of see real, people and everybody's laughing and blah, blah, blah. People were very ready to laugh. There was just like an energy with everyone where everybody was very ready to laugh. Everybody was very ready to have a good time. Shout out to Kitty Sterling for hosting it. It was just great stuff. It was the people were good energy, good crowd, doing it every second Saturday. So I'm going to be doing one this Saturday. Very excited. If you were in the Los Angeles area, please come out. 3750 Wilshire in Koreatown. Baja's Grill. Free comedy. Free live comedy. $5 margaritas. Let's go. And you get to see my new material. You get to hear the new. I don't like it unless it's brand new. So that should be exciting if you can make it out. So yeah, doing comedy and kind of like just trying to come up with material, work the material I have, and try to see what works and still what doesn't, you know what I mean? Well, bathrooms are annoying. I don't know if that works anymore. Who goes to the bathroom in public, right? But I think that there's elements of stuff that I could find to try and kind of trim and treat it so that it still sings. But the new stuff is good. It's worked, so I'm happy about it. I'm hoping that I can make it even funnier and that I get to perform it regularly all the time. But I do have a couple shows coming up. Every couple Saturdays I'm going to be doing these shows at this Baja Grill. So it's good. It's good. It's good for my spirit. One of the things, with everything going on, the COVID and just life in general, the depressions of life that hit like rainy days and storms and the bliss. I always search for things to kind of keep me motivated, keep me inspired, keep me moving forward. As I go through these things, staying busy, with whatever, auditions and stuff like that, comedy and all that. But through it, even though, you sort of have a goal in mind, there's still this element of like, oh man, there are these days where these calls and these people, they're too much. I give up. But that you got to keep pressing forward. And one of the things that I read recently, a couple interesting things I read recently, was Steve Harvey talked about how when Steve Harvey, the comedian, if you don't know, very funny, depending on who you ask, a comic, but excellent suits, unarguable. And he said he wrote out the 300 things he wanted most. He quoted some Bible scripture, and then, I'll probably mess it up, so I won't even try it. But essentially, it's saying, like, you got to say what you want real plain before you can even have the attempt to try and get at it. And so he's like, I wrote 300 things down. And he mentioned the reason I wrote the 300 things down was because once you get to 75, you're stumped. You start to run out of stuff. You know what I mean? You're like brass shower wings. I don't know. Like you're coming up with stuff out of the blue. But if you keep going, you keep digging, you kind of dig into really what it is you want. How far can your mind venture out when you get to like 120 or 150? What else do you want? Specifics, the color of the car, the color of the marble in the house, any sort of specifics. You start to get into this deep digging of who you are. Burn it all away and then see what's left, right? And so he's like, I write 300 down and I read it every morning and read it every night, the list. And he's like, at the end of a year, I had 10% of it done. Scratched off 30 things. And he was like, it shocked me. I was like, it shocked me. I mean, you're telling me it's shocking me right hearing it right now. But, he mentioned this sort of the methodology of reading it and refocusing on it. And even if it's silly, a car, a house, things like that are, I think are not just like that great. But like, I think that would be deemed as like, whatever, just vanity driven. I just think that there's this methodology to it where it's like write it all out, right to the nitty gritty as far as you can go, further than you can go, and then read it every day and read it every night. And I'm on like 60. It's hard. I want a lot of stuff, but come on. But I mean, crazy stuff, cover the Rolling Stone, whatever it is, right? And you keep going and you keep writing it out, and it digs things in you where it's not that this is why you work hard every day, even though it is. I think it just more gives you just a sense of like all these possibilities within you. You keep reaching out into your mind and reaching out into the balance and seeing what's available. And you go like, my God, I didn't even know I wanted that. And now that's part of my list, And that imagination, I think, expands just imagination in general. Having a big imagination is important for success. You got to think about these crazy things, or so I'm told, right? And so I feel like there's this idea in me where, I just want to tell jokes and make shows and do that stuff. And that's really, really hard on its own. But the idea of that, like, forward-thinking vision, like, how do you want to contribute, like a library? These ideas that seem crazy because once you get to, like, 250, like, 50 left. Diamond-covered faucets with a school. You go crazy, right? I would think. Because right now I'm on 60. I'm like, I don't know. Another house for my mom? You run out, right? So that idea I thought was really interesting. And so I'm doing that. I wrote out as much as I could, and I read it, in the morning and at night and try and develop that. And it does. It helps with those dark, gloomy days because you start to think like, remember the brass shower curtains? I don't know, it's just something silly and fun and interesting about that aspect of it. And then the other thing that I thought was interesting that I read was that, a ship never leaves harbor without knowing where it's going. For 99% of its journey, it doesn't even see its destination. And then at the very end, it just pulls up, parks out perfect, does what it's got to do, and then just goes on to the next port. Doesn't see where it's going or its destination. Just does specific things every day to make sure it stays on course. In the morning, it makes sure that it hits it. At night, it makes sure that it hits it. Just, we're still on course. The wind, move a little of this, move a little of that. But without even seeing, it makes it to the harbor. And I thought that analogy is so nice because that's so much of what this is. I'm speaking to the air right now. You know what I mean? There's no sort of guarantee of what it is or what becomes of it. It's just sort of wanting to express and wanting to just like share my thoughts and have a good time with people who might want to have a good time with me listening to this silly stuff. But that idea that the shore where I'm headed is still clear. You know what I mean? I want to do, the comedy thing, big specials, shows, movies, all the expressions. But I feel like right now, it's oh shit, you're just talking to the air. So, when you do that, I think it's when you get the bah humbug sometimes. You feel like, oh my God, am I just talking to the air, But to know it's the same analogy. It's the ship. The ship doesn't see its destination. It just moves. It does podcasts every week. It does comedy shows. It makes movies. And it does these little things and corrects itself. And with any luck, lands in the harbor. But I don't think, luck really doesn't come down to it. It just comes down to just doing it every day, making sure you're making the right corrections. And I was like, that's really, between that and the 300, I think, it might be all right. We'll get through this 2021, get ourselves vaccinated, get ourselves a high-powered sports car like that car, and have ourselves a good time thank you for listening and making it this far. I hope that this somehow inspired, made you laugh. I had a good time kind of speaking it, learning it. Just kind of the things that keep me motivated and keep me going. So I'm on 60-something. I'll let you know if it gets any further. I'm going to get that 300. But I'll keep you posted on how far I get each week. But I suggest you do the same thing. Write down your goals. We'll all be successful together. Anyway, thank you for joining me. My name is Jason Delgado. This has been the ReUp. Please follow me on the Instagram. Super fun stuff, pictures and funny. If you're in the LA area this Saturday, February 27th, come out to the Baja Grill. Come see this funny. Get these $5 margaritas. And for everyone else, have a great rest of the week. We will see you on the next one.